Most intermediate guitar players completely miss this concept. You probably know some major or minor pentatonic scales and you can play them over some backing tracks and kind of get some stuff happening, right? Well, what if I told you you could play more melodic solos by hitting the chord tones? Sounds good, right? Well, how do you do it? Well, what if I also told you that you're also playing them every time you play a major or minor pentatonic scale? You've got to be able to play more melodically, but you need to be able to identify where these chord tones are within the scales that you already know. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how you can identify the chord tones from a chord progression within your major pentatonic scale so that you can start playing more melodically much quicker. Once you see this, you can't unsee it, and you'll be able to apply it to your playing every time you pick up the guitar. Let's jump into this lesson. So most guitar players learn the pentatonic scales as a bunch of patterns, a bunch of notes all over the fretboard, even if you just learn a couple of the shapes. And that works for a while because as soon as you figure out that you can find out what key you're in and then you can jam over a blues, it's exciting, right? It gets you off and running. But that only works for so much time because as you grow as a guitar player, you start to think, well, why are my solos sounding like I'm just noodling around this pentatonic scale with no direction? That's a good sign. That sense of frustration is a great sign for you because that means you're ready to take your guitar playing to the next level. My name is Brett Blakemore. I run Summit Guitar School online, and I've taught thousands of guitar lessons, and I help guitar players just like you take your guitar playing to the next level with step-by-step instruction, and that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. So if you've been playing your pentatonic scales all over the fretboard, but you're kind of feel like you're noodling, let's take a look at how we can take a key of E major, 3 chords, E, C sharp minor, and A, and let's see how we can map those out to find where the chord tones are within 2 given pentatonic shapes. Before we get into this, you're going to want to have the PDF so that you can follow along with this lesson, all right? So there'll be a link below and above where you can grab the free PDF and the backing track you heard me play over just a second ago so that you can practice this concept on your own and you can really get the most out of this lesson. So grab that and let's jump into it. So our first chord that we're going to look at is an E major. The E chord is spelled E, G sharp, and B. How do I know that? Because I know my major scales and I know what's sharp. Like I said before, if you want to know more about this kind of basic theory foundation that you probably have avoided up to this point, check out that 5-pillar theory course linked below with a discount code. So E, a G sharp, and a B. If we take a look at the diagram, we know all the pink notes are the pentatonic, but they're also the notes that are the chord tones. So when I'm playing this E chord, I don't want to just noodle around aimlessly. I want to be able to take a look and play the chord tones, either an E, G sharp, or a B. E, slide up to the G sharp. There's 2 chord tones right there. Out of the A shape into the G shape, right? So I can do that again. And now I'm moving up to that root E. Kind of sounds like the Santeria thing. So if I go, now I got a G sharp here. So what if I go, so what if I landed right on the 3rd from the beginning? And then work my way up to the 3rd. There's a root. There's a 3rd. You want to be able to take a look at these chord tones, but you also want to be able to know how they already fit into your pentatonic. This is what you're going to start to try to apply over this backing track, and that link for that is below as well. So what if we took a look at the C sharp minor chord? So we got to be able to spell the C sharp minor chord. That's C sharp, E, G sharp. Once again, how do I know that? That's a C sharp, E, G sharp. That's the arpeggio for that, right? It all fits into the same E major pentatonic because that's the relative minor. So all those notes are going to fit. Once again, the way I know how to spell these is because I know the basic stepping stones of theory the working musicians all know. So now we know that a C sharp minor is spelled C sharp, E, G sharp. So all we have to do is take a look at how that applies to the 2 pentatonic scales in E that we've already learned, or that you should already know. All the pink notes in this diagram right here are now your C sharp, E, or G sharp. So with that being said, now you want to play your pentatonic, but you want to focus on landing on one of those notes as the chord is being played. So I'm going to land on just a C sharp right here out of this G shape right here. So I'm going to go, I can land on the E, which is here, right? I can land on the G sharp. So now when you're going through, you want to land on those notes. This E right here sounds nice. It's the minor third as well. There's the fifth. Focusing on those chord tones as the chord is landing is where the magic happens. So now that we know what the chord tones are for E major and for C sharp minor and how they're built into the E major pentatonic, we want to focus on landing on those over a track, over a loop. I've got 2 bars of E and 2 bars of C sharp recorded, and I'm going to kind of connect those. I'm going to start on the E, and I'm going to play chord tones of E and a little bit of pentatonic filling in between, and then I'm going to try to land on the C sharp as that C sharp is played, all right? So I'm just focusing on the pink notes from each diagram. So here we go. E, third of E, C sharp minor, E, third of E, or so that's a root of E, C sharp, root of C sharp, root of E, root of C sharp, fifth of C sharp. Once you get these concepts, you can start to really apply them to your fretboard. So now we've got to look at the A. Over the A, we've got 3 chord tones, the A, C sharp, and E. And that's how we play and spell an A major triad. You're thinking, how does he know that? Well, I have my bass music theory knowledge down like the back of my hand so that I can move on and apply it to the fretboard. Once again, check out that 5 Pillars course. There's a link below and a coupon code. Now, what am I doing? I got to be able to look at this diagram from the E major pentatonic and figure out where the A chord tones fit in. The one caveat here is that the A, which is the 4th note in that E major scale, is not included in the A major pentatonic. So that's a lesson for a different day. We're going to focus on the 2 notes that are included, and that's the C sharp and the E, the 3rd and the 5th. So if you look at the diagram, you can see all the pink notes for A are the chord tones. So now we want to be able to play those. So we're looking for a C sharp, and we're looking for an E. All right, so over the A, I'm going to play Sounds Nice. And you want to kind of connect those. So we're looking for the pink notes or the C sharps. There's another one here, of course, right? Make sure you understand where these are laid out across the pentatonic. We want to be able to connect the C sharp minor with the A. So now what we've got is a loop that goes from the C sharp minor, or the 6th chord, to the 4th chord A. So what we want to do is focus the same scale, landing on chord tones of C sharp, and then focus on landing on chord tones of A as it gets to that part. So here we go. I'm going to land on a C sharp of the C sharp minor right out of the gate here. Remember, this is all major pentatonic, but our chord tones are built in. So we've got... Here's A, C sharp again, but it's the 3rd. That was the 3rd of this C sharp, 3rd of the A. I'm just right in this easy box. Now I'm in the A shape, 3rd of C sharp. So you can see how now I'm connecting these and I'm not sounding as noodly as I once was. So that's the key here. You want to find where the chord tones are because those are your magical notes that will make you sound much, much more professional. You want to see how your major or minor pentatonic, in this case major, how the chord tones fit into that. They already fit in there in some way. So a lot of times you already know where the chord tones are. You just have to map them out. And that's what hopefully this lesson is showing you. So now let me play an entire little solo with the backing track and I'll try to call out exactly what I'm doing as far as chord tones go over that. I'm going to play the root on the C sharp. I'm going to play the E on the A. E on the E. I'm going to play E on the E. C sharp on the C sharp. E on the A. And G sharp on the E. There's the E over the C sharp, which is the 3rd. E over the A. G sharp over the E. So was that super virtuosic and like, wow, that guy can play guitar like nobody I've ever heard before? No, absolutely not. But what it was steps that you can take towards playing more melodically, more intentionally. And that's what will help you break out of your intermediate rut and have you stop noodling and playing more melodically every time you pick up the guitar. These are small steps you can take towards making this happen with scales that you probably already know. This is what I'm trying to help every guitar player that's at your level accomplish. You've got to be able to be willing to work on things that are not very fun to get outside of your comfort zone. Outside of your comfort zone is where you will grow as a guitar player and become more than a guitar player. You'll become a full package musician, and that's what I'm here to help you do. So now you know that the pentatonic scale isn't just a bunch of patterns, it's a map of chord tones. It's just up to you to be able to find out how to connect the dots on that map. And that's how you go from sounding like you're playing a scale to sounding way more melodic like all of your favorite guitar players. If this lesson clicked for you in any way, give this video a like and drop me a comment below letting me know what you thought. Also, if you want to go deeper on concepts just like this, subscribe to my channel because there's more coming. And also, if you want to know when I'm going live, hit that little notification bell as well because I go live every other week and I give you more content in more of an interactive setting. So I hope you found this helpful and I'll see you in the next lesson.